Hey y'all, how you doing today? All right, um, gonna be talking to you today about the rocker shaft assemblies, rocker arms, and push rods. Um, I think I've covered some information about these already, but you know what? It's really good information and it's worth repeating. So why don't I just go ahead and get into it? Okay. Okay, we got the 360, and ta-da, we have heads on the 360. Finally, right? So, as you can see, to me, this looks beautiful. Now, to some of y'all, maybe like, put some paint on it, man. Okay? But anyway, all right. So as we can see right here, we have the new valve springs. We got the retainers and the locks and everything like that. I did go ahead uh, previously and set up one rocker shaft. I've just got it laying in here because I didn't really have anywhere else to put it, and I wanted it to try to be kept as dirt free as possible. So there you go. That's why it's laying in there like that. All right. Um, we'll go ahead and start with this one. You want to make sure the end that faces, you're going to have on each rocker shaft, you're going to have a notch. This one is probably back here on this end. You want to make sure that your notch is either at the very front or at the very back. Okay? You don't want each head to have that notch in the rocker shaft at the very front. Let me show you a little more detail here. Here's the other rocker shaft I'm going to use. You see that notch I'm talking about? That kind of U-shaped notch? That's what I'm talking about. You either want that up here on one side and then back here on the other. Okay? You don't want both sides to be the same. I'll show you that again. The reason why is you have these holes here on the bottom of the rocker shaft. These holes provide oil lubrication for the valve stems, the valves, and it helps cool off the valve springs, and also helps to it also provides oil to the push rod tips and the rocker arms themselves. Okay, so it also helps to lubricate the tops of the valves here. So that's what that's all about. Now the large holes are just, well, they're the bolt holes, but the small holes are for oil. This tube gets filled full of oil. Um, each head has one of these passages in it. Okay. So this side, yeah, this side is right here. You can see how it's kind of elongated, kind of old, kind of got like an extra bit drilled into it right there. So there you go. Your actual threads are down past that passage there. So there you go. All right, let's get started here. Lay this over here. Let me just give this a quick wipe down here, just real quick. Just want to make sure. I wiped this down the other day, but I want to make sure there's just nothing here to contaminate, get on the rocker shaft itself. Which I'm just going to lay that down there like that, and that's the way it is. Okay. We need rocker shaft bolts. We're going to need those. I think I've got rocker arms. I do. I have rocker arms and push rods over here. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start putting in the push rods. I need to do that anyway. Let's see. Just put them right there. And let's see. Also, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, if you notice there's little check marks here on the head bolts, I put that on there once I know that the head bolts have been checked and they've been torqued and they've been checked. I may even probably will go back and double check these again after the engine is run a little bit. So I'm going to set you all up right here just for the time being, and I'm going to get the lubricant for the push rod tips. So here we go. Now, if your memory's pretty good from the other day from the previous video where I said the other day, I recorded the video like on Father's Day. So, if your memory's pretty good, you'll remember I was putting these heads on, I was torquing the bolts and everything like that. One thing I failed to mention, or I'm pretty sure I didn't mention, but I'll just go ahead and mention it again anyway. Be sure, whenever you're doing this, to go back and make sure that when you're torquing with a torque wrench, it's a nice even pull, okay? You don't want to like jerk on the torque wrench or shove it, really abruptly. You want all your motions with a torque wrench to be nice and fluid, okay? Because the reason why that is so important is because if you don't do it correctly, you will find out that you will have false readings on the torque wrench, and then the engine will be, the torque will be incorrect. It may spike higher, it may not be high enough. I'm just going to use this stuff right here, a little cam lube, cam break-in lube. Use that. On the Mopar LA small blocks, they all have the same intake, and exhaust has the same length. So you know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put all the rest of these push rods in. Basically, it's pretty simple. You just want to get them into the hole down there, okay? And then into the cup of the lifter. Okay? Pretty simple, straightforward. I'm going to do the rest of them, and then I'm going to come back and show you all and show you about putting on the rocker shaft. Okay? Assembly. Alright, be right back. Alright, y'all. Got all the push rods in. Wow, it's looking fantastic. It's looking great. Okay. So, now I'm going to put this rocker shaft assembly on. I want to show you all how I do this. Tell you what, I'm going to set y'all up probably here on the edge of the, like that. Yeah, I think that's not too bad. So, now some people will say to use a piece of welding wire across here holding back the push rods. I'm just going to do it like this. Yeah, make sure we're generally lined up here. Okay, yeah, I think this is going to go great. This side is going to work out fantastic. This one will work out fantastic over here. We'll pick this up for just a minute and look at something. Okay. Yep. All right. This is going to work out great over here. Okay. I'm going to put a little lubricant on the tips of the valves and the tips of the other end of the push rods. One thing to note is all of the push rods are the exact same length, intake and exhaust. So that different length push rods, some engines will have that, but those are engines that usually have valves that are canted and at a different angle to each other. So that's something on these on the small block Mopar LAs you don't have to worry about. There we go. That is looking fantastic right there. Excuse me. I'm going to check something here with my push rod that doesn't have any rocker arms on it. I want to check something here real quick. And let's see. Alright, so turn that notch to the rear on this side. Yep, okay, that works out real good. Alright. I just want to make sure that my holes are where they're supposed to be. They're facing the right direction. Yes, okay, yes. There is no problems there, okay. You see how I'm just kind of gliding the rocker assembly over. Go ahead and start the bolts. These, I'll show you how I assembled all these and lubricated all of these, okay? I put a little lubricant between these rocker arms too, okay? You want to make sure that your rocker arms are pretty well centered over the valve tip, okay? Yeah. And you want to make sure that your rocker arms aren't, the push rods aren't like rubbing the push rod hole. You want to make sure of that. You also want to make sure that, because the push rod will try to line up with that cup, okay? And that cup for the push rod tip is off center from the center line of the rocker arm. So you just want to be really, really careful about that. And don't be afraid to like take the rocker shaft and turn it around and try it on the other side, which is exactly what I'm going to do right now. These washers that go underneath the rocker shaft bolts, there's different widths. Basically, the middle and the two end ones are your shorter ones. Okay, and then these two positions here, they have the wider ones. Okay, so they basically keep everything lined up and keep everything lined up like they're supposed to. Okay. All right, there we go. So I'll flip these guys around here. Whoops. There we go. All right. Where are we at over here? Okay, these last two right here are very much misaligned. They are really bad misaligned. I mean, it's like horrifically. Well, just this one, really, more than anything. than any of the others. Let's see. Yeah, I just don't like the way this one's looking here to me. But yeah, because it's these last two just don't. I don't know. I'm not crazy about them. Not crazy about the way they're lining up, and I didn't like the way they were lining up right here either. So let's let me take these back off. Set them down over here. All right. I think I'm going to assemble this rocker shaft on the engine and try to get everything lined up like it's supposed to be. Like I said, these last two rock arms right here, these two, I just don't like the way they're lining up on the push rod, for the push rod and also on the valve tip. I just don't like what they're doing. So I'm going to take these last two off, and I'm going to investigate and probably swap them out, because all the rest of these are doing great. So, whoops, sorry about that. That's my fault. There we go. Or, let's see, better yet. Oh, excuse me. I just had a little burp there. Okay. All right, so yeah, these two rock arms, I just am not crazy about how they're lining up. So, what are these two? We've got a right and a left, which is typical. So, okay, so what I'll do, I got one of these. Okay, I'm just going to slide these on. If they work out good, I'll take them back off. So. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I think those are going to do fantastic right there. Yeah, they're going to do. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they are. Yeah, these two are perfect right here. I'll let you see what I'm talking about here. You see the alignment right there? That is like spot on. That is really, really good. Now I would like to see this washer here be a little bit wider, but it's not necessarily a deal breaker. Okay, so, and I've got plenty of those washers, so I can probably swap them out. So I'm just going to pull these off, put a little lubricant down in there so that they're not starting up dry. That's the main thing you want to do when you're rebuilding an engine. You want to make sure that nothing is starting up dry as a bone, because that's not going to do too well. Not going to last. And that's the whole name of the game, is make it last. So, all right. So we'll get these off. Again, I know, tedious. I'm not going to argue with you. But it's worth it. So I'm just going to put a little white grease. Basically a combination of that canned break-in lube and the white grease. Recording. Hold on. Okay, y'all. Got the rocker shaft sitting on here, and these two rocker arms are looking good. Right there. Yeah. All looking good. A couple things I want to point out. One, make sure your rocker arm has an oil hole right there. I picked this one up a minute ago, was lubricating it, and I just happened to notice it doesn't have any sort of oil hole right there. It looks like maybe there was a place for one and it never got drilled when it was, being, manufactured or something. Who knows? But also, when you're tightening these down, you will probably hear some squishing. That's oil coming out of your lifters. Okay, so if you have hydraulic lifters, that is. So we'll just go over here and get this necessary socket. Let's see what size we got. Oh yeah, okay, that is a 1/2 inch. So, all right, I'm going to run these down, and I'm going to let you hear and see what's going on, because it's kind of interesting. Let's see if I can expand on what's going on. Okay. Now, some of y'all might be tempted to use some sort of impact, electric or air or something like that, or some sort of drill. I don't think that's a really good idea, because when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're running them down at a good pace. You want to pull things down, and you don't want stuff to get in a bind. Okay, if you're doing this with like some sort of impact or drill, you may overlook that. You notice I started in the center and I'm working my way out. Also, keep your wrench straight with the bolt. Also, you're going to be opening some of these valves too. Okay, so be prepared for that. And be prepared that when you tighten some of these bolts down, some of these are going to be really loose. Okay. I think I already mentioned this, but it's that pressurized oil comes up through this channel here in the head, you know, up through that rocker stand. So it comes up through there, fills up the rocker shaft, and then it goes out to the rocker arms, and then it lubricates the pushrod tips and lubricates the valve seals, valve stems, cools the springs. Okay, now we're going to need to torque that down. That's going to be next. So we're going to have to get out the torque wrench and go from there. All right, here we go. Get out the old Haynes manual. I could use that one, or I think I'll use the Chilton's. So. All right, torque specifications. Some guys will just run those down and not even think of anything about it, but I'm a little more anal about that sort of thing. So, all right, I'm gonna look up these specs. I'm probably gonna have to get into a couple of different books, and okay, and I'm gonna pause this and be right back. Okay, y'all. Found out what the torque spec is. It's 25 foot-pounds. Got my torque meter set up. So we'll go ahead and... Alright, there's 0. This kind of torque range is really, really great for like building engines. For like other things though, it's maybe not the best in the world. And I fully admit that. Now when you're doing this, notice I'm doing a nice, long, even, gentle pull. I'm not, I've seen guys do that, and I'm talking like very well versed, very, very well educated mechanics who have a lot of experience doing this, and they will do that. They will go through and they will just yank that, and I don't know why they think they need to do that, but they just do. And to me, it's kind of crazy. So this bolt here, I didn't like the way it feels. Now, it could be that this saddle washer is like getting fully seated on there, and maybe it was pushing over onto one of these, this rocker arm here, but it would go to like 24 foot-pounds, but it wouldn't go to like 25. I'm just a little cautious about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a grade 5 bolt. And I mean, it looks very similar to all the rest of them. Although it has a few more markings on it than the rest of them, which is what I don't like. Alright, I'll tell you what, I've come across a different one. We'll try it real quick. So, let's try this. Oh yeah, okay. Now also too, I hope you noticed that when I'm putting the torque down on here, I'm holding the wrench and stabilizing it. I'm not allowing it to get really wonky on the bolt. You saw what happened earlier when I had that speed handle and the socket out here on this bolt, and it slipped a little bit. Well, the same thing could happen with your torque wrench. And you don't really want that to happen, but if it does, hey, you can, if it does happen, you know, just pick yourself up and dust yourself off, start all over again. But try to keep that sort of thing from happening. Okay, all right, let's see. Assembling the other rocker shaft. I tell you what, this video is already 20 something minutes long, okay? And it's actually 30 minutes long, okay? So, you see the general idea of what I'm doing here, okay? That was my hand that was flying past here. Okay, you see the general idea of what's going on here. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to pick up and have a part 2 to this, okay? Or how to assemble, yeah, I'll just have a part 2 where I assemble the other rocker shaft and put it on this head here, okay? So thank you very much for watching. God bless, and as usual, okay? So thank you, thank you, thank you.